Metaphor ReFantazio has the three pillars of God tier game of the year making to me. I'm dubbing it the VSQ when a game has this. I haven't seen it for a Japanese RPG, for myself at least, since 2022's Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I'm going to go over those three pillars with you and what makes this game such a compelling game for Japanese RPG players out there. Now, first, let's go over the base information. October 11th, 2024, that is the official release date for Metaphor ReFantazio. We've got standard and collector's editions, which are already sold out when it comes to the collector's editions, but I'm sure there'll be more available. Now, I will be personally getting the game on PC and PlayStation 5. Midori, who is a super accurate Sega leaker, has stated that Metaphor ReFantazio will be coming to the Nintendo Switch 2 as well, but rumors right now put the Switch 2 in a Q1 of 2025 release, so we probably won't see Metaphor ReFantazio on a Nintendo platform this year in 2024, probably next year in 2025. Now let's get into the VSQ system and what that means. Let's start off with V. That is for vibe, graphics, art, aesthetics, UI. The graphics are okay here, but it's somewhat overshadowed by how the art is and how just weird everything looks. It's a chic vibe to it that makes it look different, but its own thing. The obtuse outfits, vastly different looking characters, cool environments are all huge in the vibe department. The art in this game almost seems perfectly strange to separate itself from SMT and Persona, but at the same time, a burst of expression from the artist. You can tell through the pure look of the game, they have been longing to make something that truly feels eerie, but at the same time inviting to JRPG players. The philosophy that I can see here is kind of a beautiful train wreck of ideas that just come together fully to make Metaphor ReFantazio supremely magnificent in its vibe. Now let's talk about the UI, which is huge when it comes down to one of the key pillars here. ATLUS even stated it themselves in their showcase for Metaphor. UI is their strong suit, and it is very apparent here in the game. The menus, text, fonts are all highly stylized and just look fantastic in motion. Brash colors, bold tones, snappy responses show ATLUS understands how much time players will be in menus and how important it is for the flow of the gameplay in RPGs, where you can spend upward of 50 to 100 hours plus in. They took their work from Persona and expanded on it greatly. I love the vibrancy, depth, and style they have went with here. It's nothing short of incredible. Now let's move to the S. That stands for sauce. It's my own little thing that I like to talk about when it comes to certain games. Gameplay, depth, mechanics. That's what comprises the ingredients of the sauce for a game. And this could be the most important pillar for the VSQ. Sauce, this is pure gameplay, the extent, innovation, the intensity of the mechanics that make the core experience of any game tick. Metaphor has this Xenoblade, Legend of Heroes, Persona, and SMT sauce kind of all built into it and mixed around on the outside that just looks absolutely delicious when you put together the full meal here. Let's start off with the world. The game isn't open world, but it has open-ended areas where you can run around, fight enemies, take in the landscape, and more. Where the Xenoblade vibes come in is how you can see big enemies just roaming around at the very beginning that are higher level than you, and you can choose to fight them or not. The sense of freedom pushes the player to level up, get stronger, and come back to take on those enemies. ATLUS has also implemented a class system they are calling archetypes. This system allows you to customize your party members as different jobs and give you access to numerous abilities. For example, there is a Seeker class who is an all-around balanced fighter, while there is a Mage class that specializes in devastating offensive magic spells. In Xenoblade Chronicles 3, this was the hero system where the player takes on the appearance of a class they have switched to. Games like Bravely Default have also done this to great effect. Metaphor's own spin on this is fantastic and helps greatly build that sauce that I'm talking about. That is so vital to what makes great gameplay and good mechanics in Japanese RPGs. Some of the Legend of Heroes games have a hybrid system where it starts out in action-based, then shifts over to turn-based. Metaphor also has this, but how they have implemented it is truly brilliant. Weaker enemies that you can easily beat can be defeated with action combat right there. Stronger enemies that take the whole team to fight can be engaged starting out with an action slashes to get the first attack, then shifts over to turn-based to apply more strategic command-based battles. ATLUS was smart to touch on the dungeon aspect of the game, as you want to have a nice volume of locations to level up, fight a variety of bosses, and explore the world. The devs seem very confident that the dungeons will be good, as they feel the combat system combined with the dungeons will be the strongest selling point of the game overall. Now let's get to the last part of the VSQ, and that is QUIRK. Story, grandiose, intrigue, all of the other things, the X factors that play a part into a game. What does it do with its story? How's the intrigue? How is everything tied together in order to make the full experience worth playing through? The story, the characters, world setting, all of it. Luckily, Metaphor seems to do so much with this. Having a dual fantasy world that seems parallel to our own world, IRL, just seems really cool, and there's definitely more to the story ATLUS has not revealed. Monsters in this world are called humans, so there is absolutely more to that, but the setup of having an assassinated king with a royal magic to find out who will ascend to the throne based on the inhabitants' support is a glorious premise for a game, as it gives the player a driving factor on top of everything else that is happening to just keep going. Political intrigue is always a compelling story to build off of, as politics and the sheer corruption that goes with it is relatable to what most people will understand in our own life. The intrigue of this leads to a lot of plot twists and turns that can truly drive a story to great heights while tying in a supernatural element to it. The ambition of the story gives the game a whole different quirky hype to it that I am totally down to explore to its fullest. Now, this game has no romance options, but you'll be able to forge bonds with allies to gain support for your ascent to the throne, which I think is fine. There's no need for it to be like Persona, and once again, it's carving out its own path for players to be able to play. Metaphor ReFantazio has all the makings of a VSQ game. 3 pillars. For me, that makes it set itself aside from the other games that come out. The vibe gives a high quality but unique look to the game. A sauce that shows that they are not only paying attention to the best JRPGs on the market, but they are looking to improve on all aspects, adding distinct elements that mesh with its overall vibe. And lastly, the quirk. The story, the setting, the intrigue, the setup seems top tier and immediately interesting for players to jump into. Now, I know a lot of you guys have questions about Metaphor ReFantazio in terms of how long will this game be? Will it be able to hold up over the course of 50, 60, 70 hours? What else are they going to do? Is it different enough from Persona and Shin Megami Tensei? I think for me, this game is set up to be a Game of the Year candidate because it's offering something unique, it's offering something different, and the combat seems to be a nice play on everything that we love about some of the best JRPGs out there, but kind of combining it and adding its own mix to it. Right now, we have a number of games that have been fantastic this year. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, Unicorn Overlord. There's been a ton of great RPGs and games overall, but Metaphor ReFantazio seems to be a cut above in terms of how special it looks. It's not something that we've seen before. It's something completely brand new. But to add to that, ATLUS seems to be on an incredible run this year as well, with Persona 3 Reload, Unicorn Overlord, Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance, and now Metaphor ReFantazio at the end of the year. They've got something at the beginning, middle, and end that all ties in, but they're saving their newest and best seemingly for last here with this game. And I think that everything's set. Now that they have the collector's edition coming out, pre-orders are coming, I don't really think anything is going to be able to stop this game from launching when it's supposed to launch on October 11th. So I'm very excited for that. I think there are people that have already stated at this point that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is going to be RPG of the year. It's going to be game of the year. And maybe that might be the case. It has a 92, 93 or so on Metacritic. It has a very high rating, and Final Fantasy always does well with the Western market. But I think that Metaphor ReFantazio is a game that can kind of sneak out of nowhere for a lot of people, because yes, while hardcore RPG fans are rejoicing about this game, it seems like the more mainstream public that votes on these type of things are kind of like, I'm not so sure about it. But I think it has the opportunity to change people's minds once they get their hands on the game, because it does look weird. It does look obtuse. It looks very different from what mainstream gamers would want in their RPGs. They would want something more grounded in terms of how Final Fantasy looks, or something like a Dragon, right? But this game is completely different from those in the fantasy aspect. But like I said, with its combat, with its story, with its gameplay, with its elements, I think that it has a chance to really be a game that comes out of nowhere for people, and people try it out and say, oh my gosh, this is just as good as Persona, or maybe even better. Maybe they even like it more than Persona or SMT. But we're going to have to wait and see on this one, guys. There is still a lot of time and a lot that hasn't been shown, so I'm not saying outright that it is at this point. But I do think after analyzing everything here, it's got a phenomenal shot at it. So I'm looking forward to seeing the full release of the game, and I will be playing it like crazy. I know that. So what do you guys think about Metaphor ReFantazio? What are your thoughts on all the different elements that they showed off here? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out my other Nintendo Switch and RPG videos right here on screen. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.